Hey everybody, this is Doc Mack from the Galloping Ghost Arcade out in Brookfield, Illinois. Today is November 7th, 2017, Tuesday, and we are here doing a very special unveil today, number 621 on the arcade floor. Normally we save our games for a Monday reveal, but this one was something special that we wanted, just something different. This is something that is extremely rare in the vein of Beavis and Butthead and Primal Rage 2 and other just super rare games that people would never think you would ever see on an arcade floor. Some people even question the existence of the game at all just due to the fact that nobody ever seen it. It was released a long time ago. Did it make it out of prototype? Nobody knows, and there's not many people that have were around to see the actual game. So we are very happy to unveil this game today. We've got a couple of good stories, a lot of good stories on this game from its development time and how we acquired this game, and we've got several people we have to thank for that, and also great stories on that. So I guess let's summon forth former Gamer of the Year, Pete Hahn, to help me unveil today's Tuesday special mystery game. Pete, excited for this one? Are you?
Yeah, it's unexpected, but I'm looking forward to playing it.
All right, well, we've got a lot of cool stories on this one. So without any hesitation or further ado, let's unveil today's special Tattoosday game, Tattoo Assassins. Released in 1994, ours is in an original dedicated cabinet with full side art. The cabinet was absolutely amazing, such a cool, unique cabinet. This came out from Data East in 1994. All sorts of stories about the production on it. It's got a lot of history to it. The game was actually written by Bob Gale, who was the guy that wrote Back to the Future, and was headed up by Joe Kamenkow of Data East. This was kind of they're having some problems at Data East, and they were looking to cash in on the Mortal Kombat craze of the time and came up with Tattoo Assassins. You can check out the cabinet. There is literally no good pictures of this cabinet online, and we are very happy. One of these popped up years and years ago on eBay in a cabinet. It did not work. It did not have a soundboard. It was missing the marquee, and not sure whatever even really happened to that one. It probably went off into some collector's place somewhere, but it didn't work. Ours fully working. Again, original dedicated cabinet with all the artwork. Very nice condition. We'll go into how we got it in a little bit. But going back to the game itself, it again came out in 1994 when Mortal Kombat was at its peak. They were trying to come up with a game that could save Data East Pinball, and they basically made this game. They were in a giant rush to make a specific show, and they had about 6 months to do the game. And it was a giant race. They had all these ideas they wanted to do. They wanted to put everything that Mortal Kombat had by using live digitized actors and make a game. Unfortunately, the people even working on it were less than impressed with the game. The people, if you go online, you can find stories about the game being worked on where the people that were paid to test the game didn't want to test the game. They had a Mortal Kombat machine in their office and a Virtua Fighter machine in their office, and they wanted to play those instead of Tattoo Assassins. The game supposedly has 2,196 finishing moves and ways to defeat your opponent, and the artists thought it was a complete joke. They would come in almost every day with 50 new finishing moves, and the artists were like, what ones of these do you want in the game? And they were just like, oh, all of them. Every day they had 50 finishing moves they had to animate. They had to get this game done in 6 months. So it was getting close to the end of the show. They were getting promised money back, like royalties on each machine that would sell if they pulled making this game off. And it got to the point where in an interview, one of the guys that was working on it said that they knew that this game was not going to be fixable from a playable standpoint. And they just didn't want to work on it. They just grind out working on it, working so much so quickly and having such a short deadline to it. But just like with Primal Rage, we will see if maybe the game has been underrated all these years. There's definitely some interesting play mechanics to the game. And let's bring forth Rue De Kumara. Uday, how's it going? Thank you for being here today. You were one of the few people that knew that we had this, and you saw and played it. And what's your initial thoughts on Tattoo Assassin?
Wow. I think it's fun, somewhat. I mean, coming from playing a lot of Mortal Kombat, the finishing moves are definitely interesting.
Interesting, a polite word, maybe.
Yes, definitely a polite word. I'm on camera here, so no. Anyway, there's a lot of variety to the game. The moves are pretty crazy. I don't know. I just give it a try and see what you think, because I don't know. I played a lot of fighting games, so it's fun. It's fun in general. Computer can be a little difficult.
Yeah, you finished. You played through the entire game. You're probably one of the few people that have seen an ending to Tattoo Assassins. Do you remember who you used when you finished it?
I wish I did. I don't. I don't know the character's name. I think he had a headband, right? I think it was the guy with the headband. But yeah, I don't know. It got a little frustrating on a couple characters, but it's worth just going through it and checking it out.
That's awesome. Well, thank you. You want to start playing? You show some people some action?
Sure, why not?
Awesome. The other really cool side to this story is how we acquired this cabinet. I was on, I believe, Craigslist, and I saw an ad for a Raiden Fighters, I believe, that was being sold, and I messaged a guy, and his name was Dan, and we started talking, and he was like, yeah, come check it out. It's pretty good condition. And I was talking with Jeremy. I was like, hey, I want to go pick up this Raiden Fighters cabinet. This guy's supposed to have a few other cabinets. So me and Jeremy Fox of Prince Arcades drove on out and met with Dan, who is here today. Huge shout out to Dan for coming out, and we'll hear from him in a few minutes. We went to his first place, and he had a couple of machines for sale. 3 to be exact. Didn't really expect much. It was Namco Classics 1 and 2 and an Arkanoid and stuff that's fairly common. And he's like, oh, we got another place that'll show you, and let's drive on over there. Already doing Uday doing off a finishing move there. A tattooed finishing move. Perfect for this Tattoosday. So me and Jeremy then went to the next warehouse, which had several more machines. They had about 25 machines there. Some good stuff, some converted 4-player Konami stuff, some Midway stuff, and was pretty impressed by that. And he said, yeah, we have another warehouse of stuff. At least 1 or 2 more places that you should come check out. So we always anxious, but never sure what to expect when we go out on warehouse raids. As a collector with as many games as we have here, you never expect anything just because you never want to get your hopes up. You're always looking for a holy grail like Tattoo Assassins, but the chances of ever finding something like that, or a Primal Rage 2 or Beavis and Butthead, it's slim, so it's best to not get your hopes up. So we went along, and Dan introduced us to Dale, who was distributor from back in the day. He would run his machines. He'd operate them in all sorts of places. Went to him, talked to him about a bunch of what other machines he might had. And even walking up, like on the driveway, there was machines that you could see. Talked to him. He had in his garage, I believe there was a Cubert and some other really good stuff. He had, I believe, Turtles in Time as well. So it was like, there's some stuff you don't see every day. Went in and talked with him. Dale had so many great stories about his day working in the arcade scene, and we really hope that we can hear more of those stories at some point and share them with everybody. We look to hopefully have Dale out at some point to do a podcast interview, just because it is his knowledge on the games and the information that he has and the stories, it's just unbelievable. So we definitely want to speak more with him. But he was like, yeah, there's a bunch of games out in the back of the property. Go check them out. There's a few tents set up. There's a few trailers with tarps on them. Go look around. So me and Jeremy went on back and looked at some of the trailers, and there's some good stuff in there. A lot of cabinets, some conversions, things of interest. Until we separated, and Jeremy was going and looking into a tent. I was looking into another tent. And met back up with Jeremy just as he was unzipping the third tent, and he kind of peeked his head in, and he was like, hey, isn't that Tattoo Assassins is on your list, isn't it? And instantly I thought he was joking. I was like, there's no way there's a Tattoo Assassins in this tent. And peeked in, and there it was. It was an actual Tattoo Assassins cabinet. The tent, there's a little bit of water damage inside of the cabinet, but upon inspection, the game was in phenomenal condition. Whereas so many of the games from the 90s, the red had bled out of the cabinets on the side art. This was crisp and sharp, and super excited. It was one that, knowing that we would do an event exactly like this, as if this machine was for sale, it had to end up here, where everybody could enjoy it, see it, play it, just experience it, along with all the rest of the games that are here.
I'm really good at games.
And after talking with Dale and Dan brought us back in to meet with Dale, and he said that somebody had already kind of spoken for it. They were, I was asking what he wanted for it, and it was not very much, which was a great price on. And one of those things that we don't do on deals is if somebody has it completely spoken for, we're not going to interrupt a deal that's going on. But we did tell Dale about what it would mean for it to be here. And you could see this guy, Dale, had such a passion. His interest was less about making money on this game, more about getting it to a place where people would enjoy it. Like, Dale had a genuine appreciation for this game living on with people playing it, and not just ending up in some private collection where it would never be seen again and only a couple of people would enjoy it. He wanted it out there, just like his machines were out there for all those years that he was in business, that people would enjoy it, have fun with it, play it, and enjoy it for what it is, being the video game that, an arcade game that people just love going out and playing. So Dale was not ready to sell it to us. He said he had to talk to the guy that had already kind of put dibs on it. And he did want it to go with us. Nothing was set in stone, but he was going to have to let this guy know that it was going to go with us. And it was such an unsettling time for myself, just because it being such a rarity, the chances of finding another one so slim. So if we miss this, who knows if we would ever see another one. and probably never have the opportunity to put it in front of people to enjoy it again. It was the day of T20. I believe it was that a Saturday that we came out?
Yeah, it was Saturday.
It was the first Saturday of T20. And I heard from Dale and Dan, and they told us, yeah, come on out. If you're in the mood to buy some games, we're in the mood to sell some games. So we went on out. Still couldn't get a confirmation if we were going to be getting this one or not. And it was such an unsettling time. Just as a collector, who knows what's going to happen. And would not have felt bad if we didn't get it, but really, really wanted to have this here. We went there. Jeremy, do you remember what else you picked up there? Jeremy Fox.
Yeah, I picked up a Czechs hockey, which is already gone. A Turtles in Time, which I ended up restoring completely and doing the new artwork set. Was that Open Ice? Open Ice, Simpsons. We had a couple more. I know we filled that trailer a couple times, didn't we? Raiden 2, maybe? Raiden 2, yeah. Didn't we fill that trailer twice on that one? I don't know. I think so.
Just the once that day.
Was it just once? We got a lot of stuff, though. I want to say we left with 15 or 16 pieces, probably. I think it was.
So one of the last games was Tattoo Assassins. Dale had to go back in a few times and make some phone calls, and he finally came back out and he was like, load it up. He's like, it's going to cause me a bunch of problems, but you guys should have this. And it was so amazing of him to do that, and we can't thank Dale and Dan enough for having this game here. And it's, I think, something that we're going to be able to find out so much more, not only about the game and how it was created, and see if, again, people have said that this is one of the worst fighting games ever made. Like, we'll put that to the test. And just like Primal Rage 2, which people were unsure of if it was a good game or a bad game, people can now come and judge for themselves. So let's now talk with Dan a little bit here. Dan, thank you again so much for coming out. And we were the first to speak on the Raiden deal, and I know you were kind of fighting for us to get this here, and that is so much appreciated. And with the amount of people that come here and play this stuff, it'll be appreciated forever, and we're indebted to you for that. And thank you so much. And unfortunately, Dale wasn't able to make it here today, but I really hope that
hopefully he'll be able to come out here soon. He had some things to do today, but I think he would like to come out at some point.
Awesome. Again, talking with him for the time that we did, he has so many amazing stories and just so much history about the arcade scene and throughout its golden times and its ups and downs, and we definitely want to hear about that. Had you had much information on Tattoo Assassins?
No, I certainly knew nothing about it until we started talking about it and found that it was whatever. There's 2 of them in the world or 3 of them in the world that are known anyway. So yeah, and that was great, especially to pull it out of one of these tents that, there was some questionable condition going on in some of the tents, and we pulled something so unique out of the tent. That's great that something was found in there, and that wasn't totally destroyed either. That was recoverable.
Absolutely. The cabinet, again, in excellent condition. There's a slight amount of water damage on the back left corner. Nothing anybody would ever see. The control panel, again, we spent a lot of time cleaning it all up, and surprisingly, my big concern was the board going to work? And it did. It was just phenomenal. It took, I had to clean the contacts and the edge connector on the JAMA harness, and we had to swap the monitor and a few just cosmetic things, but to see that it turns on, it was just unbelievable. Just because so many, especially with Data East, they occasionally will use custom chips, and if a custom chip is bad, you've got a real problem. So to have this just function was just absolutely phenomenal. Before, had Dale ever, like you said that you didn't really know, did you know it was in there, and just assume it being...
I had made a list, so it was probably on the list, but I didn't know enough to know it was of any significance. So yeah, because we had gone through briefly and just made a little list of what was in all the tents that we could get to anyway. And yeah, so it probably made it on a list somewhere, but not until you realized what it was were we aware of what it was.
And it's one of those things where you never know. Like, there's so many games out there and so many prototypes and so many rare pieces that it's hard to know what's what, which that's one of the big things. Like, never in a million years when going out to look at a Raiden would I expect to just see one of these. So again, just thank you so much for everything, and huge thank you to Dale for allowing this to be here and making the collection of rarities that much better here at the Galloping Ghost.
Yeah, you're very welcome. Absolutely. Glad to have gotten it here too.
Thank you. It's are you going to play it again?
Oh, sure, I'll play it some more. Fighters aren't really my thing, but I'll certainly play it some more just to get a feel for it now that I'm aware of it, you know. And Dale could probably tell you other stories. Dale, I'm sure, was aware that he had it, and he seemed to have some knowledge about it, but you know, him and I just came into doing business together not so long ago, so, you know, he's far more aware of everything than I am, especially what's in his own garage, you know.
It's amazing. The people who have seen these games come and go, the names seem to stick with all of them. Like, it's just how it is with arcade games. It's even though you might have hundreds of them, each one has its own story. And again, that's one of those things that were... how he would come in possession of this, and like what else did he have, and like my thoughts instantly jump into like there's got to be some story on this. How did it earn back in the day? Did he ever think about converting it to something else? Did it, like, there's probably so many stories surrounding just this game that add to the whole mystique of this cabinet being here. So hopefully Dale will be out to share that with us.
Right, hopefully he can give a better story. The only thing I know from his side about it is I believe he paid about what he sold it to you for. So he didn't have it firsthand. You know, he's a second or whatever tertiary owner on it. And so, yeah, hopefully in the future he'll be able to give us a better story on it and where it may have been over time. And, yep.
That's awesome. I think
All right, I found another fatality for you.
we're going to keep...
3 times unblocked.
We're going to keep streaming. I think we're going to cut off our local record here and our Facebook, but we will continue to stream and have commentary on Twitch. So if you want to keep following us, switch over to twitch.tv/Galloping Ghost Arcade. We're going to be streaming this for quite a while and talking a bit more, and talking more with Dan and Uday and Jeremy and Pete Hahn and everybody. So watching more of the fun that is Tattooed Assassins here on Tattoosday at the Galloping Ghost Arcade. So we will cut off. Thanks everybody. This is Doc Mac from the Galloping Ghost Arcade, and we hope to see you around the arcade soon. Awesome. Hey everybody watching us on Twitch, we are still going. Rue De Kumara playing Tattoo Assassins. This character that he's fighting against, named Carla, who was based on Nancy Kerrigan, the ice skating fighter. So Tattoo Assassins, each character has a tattoo on them that has a magical power. Again, this game written by Bob Gale, who brought you Back to the Future. And they had a lot of limitations. The color palette they used for this game was pretty limited in comparison to games like Killer Instinct and Mortal Kombat, of course. But definitely what was holding this game back was the time frame in which the game had to be done by, which was corresponding with a big show that Data East wanted to be ready for. So they rushed this game. They gave a 6-month production time. Extremely short production time. They had big hopes for it. I had never seen this game in the arcade myself. The cabinet itself, again, ours is an original dedicated. Very unique. They said only a few dozen of these cabinets made, and the majority were just destroyed as the game wasn't going into full production. So there was only a few cabinets that were actually produced and very few that actually survived. The only one I'd ever seen was the one on auction on eBay several years ago, which was not working, had no sound, had no marquee, and basically incomplete and not working. I had no idea where that one ended up. Talked with a lot of collectors. Nobody really seems to know. There were 2 that were in a collection that possibly were destroyed in a flood. But it's hard to get any information. I've reached out to somebody who was supposed to have one and never heard back. So this game, again, never seen one before, fully working, and happy to have it here for everybody to enjoy at the Galloping Ghost Arcade. Now we have Jeremy Fox of Prince Arcades playing as Truck. Versus Luke. Truck Daniels. Truck, what's that?
Truck Davis.
Truck Davis. Versus Luke. Jeremy Fox, what did you think? I know you knew this from my list. It seemed as if you knew I wanted one, but didn't realize the rarity of it. And it was, when you told me, I thought you were completely joking.
Actually, thought that we'd literally never run across one of these, and especially in this condition, this is ridiculous. I mean, this thing is, I don't want to say mint, I never use that word, but it's pretty perfect. Artwork is great, cabinet's great, there's no water damage anywhere. I mean, it's phenomenal looking.
It's funny, there was the other cabinets in that tent did have some water damage, and it was as if some was significant water damage. And it was, I remember crawling inside that tent. I had to crawl, my back was touching the ceiling because I'm crawling across the cabinet tops to get to this game. And it had the marquee. I didn't know if it was going to be a conversion. I didn't know if it was going to be, it has almost an MK shape to it. But I couldn't see the sides and didn't know if the side art was there, didn't know if it was going to be damaged. The first day, we didn't even get to examine it that well. And it wasn't until the Saturday when we went back out. And I honestly, I was pretty nervous about it. I wasn't sure if we were walking away with it.
We were almost pretty sure we weren't walking away with it. I remember. But this is very exciting. I can't believe I'm playing this. I haven't even had a chance to come in and sneak a play before it got into the actual arcade, but it's pretty fun. And I'm horrible at fighting games, so I kind of like this one. Maybe it suits me.
Again, the cabinet artwork is unique from the left and the right side. The one side has the dragon artwork. The one has a tiger, one has a dragon. Just so super cool. I had seen pictures of the cabinet, and it was always a tiger side, and there's a very small picture of the dragon side on there somewhere. But seeing it in person, it just is such fantastic artwork. Again, with the amount of finishing moves, they were really trying to do anything and everything. That there's so many rumors back in the day about Mortal Kombat having animalities and nudalities, and Data East's philosophy was, let's put everything in there. This game has nudalities, it has animalities, it's got it all. There's 2,196 finishing moves. That is a ridiculous amount of finishing moves. The way they did it is the quality level on a lot of the finishing moves they're very quick. There's some where there'll be a burst of smoke and then the character will disappear and come back as the picture American Gothic. Like, it's just seemingly random things. There's one finishing move where a DeLorean drives in and just runs the opponent over as a tribute to Bob Gale, the writer of Back to the Future, who wrote this game as well. So, again, this has always been kind of a put-down fighting game, considered one of the worst fighting games out there. But I don't know, it's got its own uniqueness to it.
Yeah, I just want to say, I think it'll be super fun, 2 players. You know, it's solid. It's, you know, you can play it. You know, like, you can actually play it and block and counter, and so it's a lot of fun. And then you can just discover what fatalities there are, you know, just by mashing on stuff, which is cool too. You could never do that like back in the day. You have to kind of know the sequence. But this one, a lot of them are just like one button and one movement, so it's pretty cool.
One of the interesting design choices in this game with projectiles, if you, for example, there's a character that throws a tomahawk. If you block the tomahawk, it will reflect back at the person that threw it. So, and it will hit them and cause damage to them, which is just, I've never seen that in any fighting game before. Oh! The bowling ball tattooed fatality. The game is just funny. It's very bizarre, very bizarre. I believe one of the women in this game is actually played by Slash's wife of Guns N' Roses. I read that somewhere online. It must be true. So thank you everybody again for joining us. If you're just tuning in, you are watching Tattoo Assassins here today on Tattoosday at the Galloping Ghost Arcade. This will be here permanently amongst the other rare games that we have. So many other rare games that you can only play here. Games like Primal Rage, Beavis and Butthead. Actually, there's another arcade out in Colorado. Hyperspace has our Beavis and Butthead machine. They have it as well. Huge shout outs to them. How cool is it that we're seeing more and more of these rare games at other arcades for everybody to enjoy? But we're happy that we have so many rarities here. Like, again, Primal Rage 2, Beavis and Butthead, Argus, Arena, International Team Laser, RC Squared, Judge Dredd, prototype version of Trog. Narc with an unreleased level. Freeze. Oh! The evisceration. Brutal.
The intestine.
Just gutting truck. Yeah, well, this game might not have the polish of Mortal Kombat or Killer Instinct or Virtua Fighter. It's definitely got its uniqueness to it. It's fun. It's fun. It's just, it doesn't have the depth of those. It doesn't have the same game design. But it's just a fun, easy to get into. When the finishing moves come up, if you mash on some buttons and move the stick, pretty much something will happen.
With a reptile spin.
Oh! Kick! That was Jeremy Fox playing of Prince Arcades. Dan is back up playing. We did take the control panel completely apart and clean it. We put new buttons on it, but left the original sticks. There was a slight amount of water damage underneath the control panel art, which we meticulously took it all apart, took the covering plastic off, and cleaned it. And it turns out it's got some color fade on it, but looks very good. Looks very good. We were going to put new T-molding on it and just decided to leave it original. Shows a little bit of what it's been through some stuff, and I think that gives it a little bit of character. And we did have to swap the monitor. It had a Hanorex monitor in there, so we swapped that with something different. But huge thanks to our master tech Seth Young for doing that. Again, huge thanks to Dan and Dale for getting this game here. It would not be possible and playable to everybody without them. Again, this came from just a Craigslist ad, not even for this game. It was just a single game posted, and went and checked out what else they had, and they happen to have none other than Tattoo Assassins. Again, for those just joining us, Tattoo Assassins released, or not released, in 1994 by Data East. Ours is in an original dedicated cabinet, full artwork. And again, for the people that wonder about preservation, yeah, we have already scanned it all in. Marquee has been scanned in, control panel, all the cabinet artwork has been preserved. Again, that one that was on eBay years and years and years ago was missing the marquee. And awesome to see these games back in service again and preserving the artwork. And who knows, maybe one day we'll find whoever has that and they'll be like, we need that marquee, and we can help them. It's kind of it had there was supposed to be a few dozen, there was a couple dozen cabinets created, but the game was canceled. So it did go out on test, but it was then canceled. So it wouldn't have had another revision done to it. It could have gone into mass production, but it only had its super limited run. So it's kind of in question whether it did get an actual release or if it was just considered a prototype. But I've seen people say that they had seen it and played it, but where, nobody's ever really said where. And obviously if they were out there, like this one had to be out being played by somebody somewhere. But again, where that would be and when that would be, who knows?
What the last license was on it? So do you remember what the last license was on it for the sticker before you pulled it?
It was not. It was a. I believe it said 90. I want to say it said 97. So it had not been out in quite.
Right.
Not in circulation in 20 some years. 94. Yeah. Oh, the Mona Lisa treatment. Brutal. Just sometimes when if you're an artist and your job is you have to make 2,196 moves, sometimes you got to cut some corners. Sometimes you just turn into the Mona Lisa.
I'm guessing that was just a placeholder.
No, that was literally when they were working on it. One of the artists said that they were bringing them 50 finishing moves that they wanted every day. And they asked them, what ones of these do you want? And they were just like, oh, just do them all. And they were like, how are we supposed to animate 50 finishing moves for all these different characters? So that just kind of led to like, okay, yeah, this character, you're going to turn into a Mona Lisa here. Or you're going to turn into American Gothic. Or, hey, let's have a DeLorean drive by. Or just some weird stuff going on. And it was, again, with a 6-month deadline, you just got to just cross stuff off your list. It's like, yeah, they turn into the Mona Lisa. That one's done. All right, Rue De Kumara. Takahara using his kendo stick smoke teleport. You have various tattoo special moves. It's a 6-button game set up pretty much like Mortal Kombat, except with a button set above the block button, which is your tattoo button. There's a small counter up at the top where shows you how many times you can use that. Let's see if Uday can pull off a nudality on this one.
Don't really want to. That's okay.
Teleport punch. The giant blood splatter when your energy is drained. Reminiscent of Primal Rage. This game has a lot of blood. I think this game is about excess. Any random punch will just massive blood splatter.
Yeah, it's right next to the Mortal Kombat.
Oh, that was
Yeah.
Again, thanks for joining us this Tattoosday here at the Galloping Ghost Arcade. Oh! Nudality! He did a nudality! Uday, hand to face, thinking, what has he done? Talk versus Derek. The cigarette smoking, guitar playing, fire breathing, metal. Oh! Oh! Uh-oh. Double danger. Oh! Double danger. Data East not adhering to the Mortal Kombat. When that came out, it kind of put everybody on edge. The rating system created from Mortal Kombat, and then Tattoo Assassins would go, they would put nudalities, they would put more blood, cigarette smoking. I believe there's some strong language in here somewhere even. Oh! What's he doing now? Another nudality! Oh my! Jeremy Fox commenting. Oh, there we see. Let's see. Let's do see if you can reflect. The grenades hit, but if he blocks anything that's a physical item, if you throw a smoke bomb, they can't reflect it. If you throw fire, they can't reflect it. But if you throw a grenade and block it, see if you can block one of those knives. The knives don't reflect. Oh, jeez. But the grenades. Double grenade off of a reflection. This game breaks all of the rules. Like, are you going to take chip damage from that? No. What? So you throw a projectile that gets blocked, no chip damage on it, and it goes and you damage yourself by throwing it. That is some interesting game design choices. But that's how you find out how you innovate. Maybe it's good, maybe it's not. It definitely adds something to the gameplay. That could be a very deep play balancing mechanic that Data East never told anybody about. Billy Two Moons. Blocking the fire axe, reflecting it back, and Billy Two Moons not finding that funny at all. Billy Two Moons not even playing his walk animation, just gliding across the floor. The ridiculousness of the way this game plays makes it just fun. It's not taking itself too seriously. It's just like, you want to block a projectile and reflect it? Go for it. GGA Tommy Waffles was here playing this at on the first day, and he's trying to figure out frame data on it, and I cannot wait. Given close to 20 seconds to do a finishing move. Just fun, just fun. There's definitely a couple of good interviews and write-ups on this game. Again, super rare. This is the only one known in any arcade for sure. Super rare. rumors of there being 2 cabinets that were out there, rumors that they were destroyed in a flood. There was another incomplete cabinet. But to have a full, complete working one added to the floor here today on Tattoosday at the Galloping Ghost Arcade. Again, huge shout outs and thanks to Dale, who sold this to us, allowed us to have it here on the arcade floor for everybody to come and enjoy. Huge thanks to Dan, who championed it for us to end up with it, talked with Dale, and huge thanks to both of them. Oh, jeez. Again, we've been collecting for so long and have gone on so many warehouse raids and gone to buy so many cabinets. You never know what you're going to expect. We often hear people say like, oh, I would never find something like this. And honestly, it's just about talking to people, checking out other people that they have machines. Who knows what else they have. This game, we went out to go buy a Raiden cabinet and had no idea they had this. And that's really just unbelievably cool to just stumble across one of these. Again, it was not in a collection being stored or anything. It just was in a tent somewhere. And fortunately, it didn't get lost. It wasn't destroyed. The majority of the other cabinets in that warehouse, in that tent, had damage on them. And it was like, this was the only game. Didn't have major water damage to it. Had it, like, would we have been able to fix it? It wouldn't be what it is today. But now it will go into our collection and be preserved forever. And again, we owe that to Dan and Dale for that. Again, we look forward to having Dale out, and hopefully we can get an interview with him because he's got so much history on his years putting our arcades in venues, and we don't want even that history. We want to know it. We've been in touch with Joe Kamankow. We are hoping, who's the creator of this, we hope to have him out. We'll eventually talk to some of the other people from Midway even. We'll hit up Ed Boone and see if he can give us his insight. I know he was aware of Tattoo Assassins. We'll ask him and John Tobias and see what they thought about Tattoo Assassins. Are you taking us through the end of this right now? Is this a full playthrough?
Oh, I don't know. It depends on how patient I am.
Oh, the big uppercut. Uh-oh. The two-headed dragon.
Oh, God. It's like a totally different... It's like somebody held it in front of the camera.
Again, we see Bob's Tattoo Palace in the back half of the screen, that being for Bob Gale, who came up with the story for this game.
Is that Nancy Kerrigan?
That character, Carla, who is supposed to be Nancy Kerrigan. Not to put a date on this game by doing a Nancy Kerrigan reference, but
That is, oh yeah. Yep. If you look up the...
I believe the Bob Gale, again, the writer of the game, creator of the story of Tattoo Assassins, believe his middle name is Coldan, which is also the last boss's name. Bob Coldan Gale. You get to pick your tattoo power, which is just interesting. Oh! The drawn on eyes there, kind of funny. The bulging out eyes, super cartoony. All right. Well, that will wrap it up for commentary for this moment. Again, thank you for joining us this Tattoosday here at the Galloping Ghost Arcade for the release of Tattoo Assassins. Again, ours in an original dedicated cabinet made by Data East in 1994. Never kind of gray on if it was actually released. Is this the prototype? I believe it is pretty much just a... Unbelievable. Pretty good AI. Interesting AI.